is hour number 2. That's drive time right here on the show that shakes the Southland, Clemson Sports Talk. Lawton Swan with you on a Monday afternoon, and our buddy William Qualkenbush set to join the program here momentarily. 803-450-0086, 803-450-0086. Again, thank you all for joining us, man. We had a ton of people in here out of the gates. I wasn't thinking, though. Ugh. I wasn't thinking because when I dropped the feed, I lost all the comments, and that angers me. I wonder if there's a way I can go back and find those. I'll try to. I'll see what I can do. You may notice today, though, after a 14-8 victory over the Georgia Tech Yellow Jackets this past Saturday, I felt compelled. The guy that rarely wears the Clemson gear. I mean, I got the backdrop, got the big tiger in the background, got all the championship trophies and balls and all that in the background. I hardly ever come in here just jazzed up in Clemson gear. But I said, you know what? We're bringing out the Clemson Sports Talk hats. We're bringing out, wrong side, weatherman. We're bringing out the Clemson Sports Talk T-shirts. We got the stuff in the backdrop. I mean, look, I got to pump the brakes a little bit on the panic button here. Got a lot of people panicking about Clemson. It's all right. It's early. Lots going on. William Qualkenbush, I don't know if he's, followed the program today or followed our Twitter feed. Well, I know he follows our Twitter feed. I just don't know if he's happened to be keeping up with it. But Qualk, on Friday afternoon, by the way, my man, welcome in. Thank you for being a part of the show. But I will say this, on Friday, Qualk, Tommy Bowden was on the program, and we were kind of talking about Clemson, and he made a point. He said, look, remember a few years back when they barely beat Troy 30-24 is a close ball game? And he's right. And then you go through that 2016 season, a year where Clemson wins the national championship. And Qualk, they went to overtime against NC State. I mean, they barely beat Auburn on the road. It's okay if Clemson's playing close games. Now, this offense does not look good. But the thing I want to impress upon Clemson Tiger fans is it wasn't all that long ago where just beating the brakes off of people was the norm.
That's true. First of all, Swanny, thanks for having me. Glad to be here, even on a day of carnage such as this. Listen, I like Coach Bowden. I think a lot of Coach Bowden. Coach Bowden gave me hope as a youngster who sat through every single home game of the 3-8 1998 season. So there's that. I think he's right if we're talking about life in a vacuum. But the reality is that since that point in, 2015? Is that right? That was the 2015 season where they were playing the close game. Is that right?
The year Clemson goes on.
I'm sorry. Yes, 2016. Yeah. Okay. Since that point, we have seen 4 years consecutively where Clemson's offense has looked a certain way. I actually think, I was thinking about this the other day, if this season had happened in 2017, people would be much more forgiving. Think about what was true about the 2017 team. No Gallman, no Williams, no Leggett, no Watson. A lot of those guys on defense were out. Like, there was a lot of rebuilding to do. And all that 2017 team did was just shove it down everybody's throat and ask them how they liked it. And they went on the road to Louisville. They pounded Louisville. They won a bunch of games. Like, they beat ranked teams. That team was great, right? But if this season happened in 2017, we'd be like, you know what? Growing pains. You can't win a championship every year, blah, blah, blah. When this season didn't happen in 2017, when you got back to the playoffs and had a number one seed, despite the fact that it felt like you were limited in some ways, including but not limited to the quarterback position, it gave the sense, I think, this program is impervious. Then you go 2018, you win a national championship in a season in which you had a quarterback controversy and your starting quarterback left in the middle of a game prep week. And then 2019, you're following up the quote-unquote best team ever with a team that as good or better, and you just stub your toe at the end. And then last year. So, like, yes, I agree with the sentiments about 2010 or 2014 or 2016 or 2017 or whatever. But the reality is this is a program that was set up to be impervious to all that stuff. And I'll also make this one point. It's not as if the coaches didn't help themselves getting into this mess. Or said a different way, it's not as if the coaches didn't hurt themselves by telling us DJ Uiagalelei is basically a heat-seeking missile with a body attached, and they won't throw it down the field. The deepest, most talented receiving core that Dabo Swinney's had since he's been here, which, by the way, he was coaching receivers for Tommy Bowden for several years. So he's seen almost 20 classes of receivers. You're not even trying to get the receivers involved, not even trying to use them. Offensive line is deeper, more experienced, way ahead of where it was last year. We heard that just Tuesday. They played 5 offensive linemen, ineffective offensive linemen, in a game against an overmatched Georgia Tech team that was putting 5 men in the box a lot of downs. So, like, and then running backs. You know, you got Lindsey Dixon, an incumbent, who was just inferior to the other 2 guys. So it's not as if the coaches didn't tell us to expect more. You know, it'd be one thing if we were just making it up in our brain, Swanee, but it's another thing entirely when the coaches are telling us how explosive this offense is going to be, and then you've come out and look like this the first 3 games. I think people are right to be frustrated.
I think one thing that bothered me more than anything Saturday is the fact that, yes, the look that Georgia Tech's giving you, forcing you to run, whatever. But if it's that easy, right? Like, I can't, like, I kind of made the comparison. It's got to be harder than changing my print cartridge over here on my toner. Like, it's got to be a little harder than that. But I would believe that a team as good as Clemson's expected to be would be equipped with when all of a sudden there's an issue. Somebody's giving us a look we didn't expect, that we go, all right, guys, here's what we got to do. And I didn't feel like they were very effective in that. And that's like my biggest concern, is that they weren't effective in adjustments, and they had like 2.5 hours for halftime.
Right. So here, I'll say this. I saw a lot of people trying to downplay. Basically, there are a lot of folks who I think have never had a problem in their jobs that wasn't easy to solve. Like, oh, well, you make $2 million. Well, you just go fix it. No. Like, I did a high school game a few years ago where there was a team that did nothing but spread that lined up in the single wing, Swanee, like the old school single wing, like 1940 single wing. It didn't matter. You could have paid that defensive coordinator $28 billion a year. He was not going to figure that out until some time had passed, until he saw what was happening, right? I mean, when somebody comes out for something that's very different, and like, let's be honest, you got a true freshman left guard who's been hearing all week how he's going to have to deal heads up over a defensive tackle, and now he's heads up over nobody because he's in an odd front, or he's heads up over a nose that he wasn't supposed to be going against in that particular way. So, like, those, I'm not saying that they shouldn't have figured it out, but I'm saying those are legitimate. That's not made up. That's not like some excuse where, like, oh, come on, you can't possibly. No. It ain't Madden where you just go, oh, okay, they're running 3-4 today. Well, we'll just run the same stuff. It'll be fine. That can't, it doesn't work that way. With that said, I do think they ran better stuff after the delay. If you look at the 3 series preceding the delay, 2 of them were 3 and outs. You look at the 3 series after the delay, all of them, I believe, were 8 plays or more. 2 of them were double-digit plays. 1 resulted in the fumble. So it's not like they weren't moving the ball afterwards. I think like 60, almost 70% of their yards came in the 3 drives post-break. So I do think I don't think it's fair to say they didn't adjust. I think they adjusted some. But when you are, this is a deeper issue to me. It's not flawed. It's not weakness. It's not wrong to say we're going to take what the defense gives us. That's not wrong. In fact, that's not a philosophy. I know Dabo, has gotten criticized recently for saying we do what we do and that take what the defense gives us. People are reading that out. I think people understand that is the exact same philosophy that won you 2 national championships and got you to 2 more. Like 2015, guess what Clemson did? They took what the defense gave them. 2016, they took what the defense gave them. The problem was not that taking what the defense gives you is inherently bad or wrong or Clemson can't do it. The problem is they didn't take anything. Georgia Tech gave them like 6 yards on the ground every play. If you got a decent offensive line and a good run game, go take it. Otherwise, they're going to run 8 in coverage all day long because you can't run it. The issue was not that Clemson was taking what the defense gave them. The issue was that it didn't take what the defense gave them. In the non-sack run play, Swanee, Clemson averaged just under 4 yards a carry. You have got to be able to run the ball better than that against a team that's going to be inferior up front to the opponent that you face this week, the opponent you're going to face next week, and several opponents down the line. You have to be able to line up and run that ball. And so Clemson could have had a lot of success taking what the defense gave them. Heck, against Georgia Tech 2 years ago. They took away Trevor Lawrence entirely, and so the Tigers ran for over 400 yards. Then they go to Atlanta last year, and they took away Travis Etienne entirely. Clemson throws for 500 yards. Clemson has been taking what Georgia Tech gave them each of the last 2 years and has absolutely destroyed this defense. The issue is not with the philosophical approach. The issue is that they cannot do that this year with this team. If you cannot line up and run the ball against a 5-man box, guess where you're going to see every doggone week? Odd fronts with cloud coverage. So you better figure out how to run the ball, or you better just push it down the field regardless and deal with some interceptions. I mean, these are the hard choices that Clemson's got right now, because that is a reality that people do not want to confront. But when you can't take what the defense is giving you, then every single defense from that point on is going to make you prove it to them that week that you can do that.
I agree 100%. He's on Twitter at Qualk Talk again every day, noon until 3, out of bounds with Qualk and Kelly in the upstate. And, you know, you look at, I think back to the 2014 season, Qualk, when Deshaun Watson takes over at quarterback against Florida State and Clemson's down at the goal line. They don't go under shotgun, and that costs them in that ball game, in my opinion. And then what happened on Saturday, very similar, just kind of on the reverse end of the field. You're like at the 1 yard line, backed up in your own end zone, and you stay in the shotgun. And look, I get it. It worked out. There was a fumble, and he was out of the end zone. And, you know, but if grandma had rubber wheels, she'd be a bicycle. I mean, the ifs and buts about, well, what if he gotten out, it was a great play call. Yeah, but he didn't, and he fumbled. And if Georgia Tech recovers it, they're going for 2 to tie the game. Like, to me, from the standpoint of the strategy behind it, and I asked Tony Elliott after the game, and I thought people thought it was crazy. Trevor Maddich even said it as well. I was thinking the whole time, just throw the ball. I'm seeing this guy throw the ball 85 yards. Just run a route and throw it out of bounds. Qualk, how is it not possible that Clemson's got somebody with the ability to take a snap under center and fall forward? Like, if you are a championship level team, a Power 5 program, why is Hunter Helms not just doing that at practice? Because if you tell me Hunter Helms fumbles the ball and Georgia Tech gets a safety or whatever, but you say to me, we practice that every day with Hunter Helms for a situation like this, I go, you're preparing for everything. But if you don't have that, to me, you're not preparing for every moment in the game.
All right, so I don't disagree at all. And I think conceptually it's a good thing. Now, there are 2 potential reasons why you wouldn't go under center. The first, and we should say this, we should point it out, is the center. You have a brand new center who hasn't snapped the ball that many times in a game situation to anybody, any quarterback of any caliber. So,
let me preface one thing. Whoever Hunter Helms is working with at practice on the snaps would be the center in this scenario as well. I forgot to throw in that other caveat of the center and the quarterback would be well in sync.
So there's that. I just want to point out.
That's a fair point.
You know, it could be an issue with Bockhorst. It could be that he's more comfortable snapping the shotgun than he is snapping under center. And people will tell you it's different. It's different snapping a different quarterback. It's different snapping under center, pistol, shotgun. It's all different. The second is the quarterback. Kelly Gramling, my co-host, went back to the Boston College game, and DJ took a snap under center. I believe this would be considered the last time DJ took an under center snap in a game. And there was a bad exchange between he and Travis Etienne that Boston College returned 99 yards for a touchdown. So it could be that DJ doesn't want to take snaps under center either. I'm not saying that any of that is right. I'm not saying somebody shouldn't have said, bro, you're just going to take a snap under center. But those would be reasons why in that position in that game, because you don't want a fumble exchange. The most important thing is that the quarterback receives the snap, because you're counting on your running back to not drop the ball at the goal line. By the way, Clemson fumbled 3 times in the game. I should note that DJU ran the ball 8 times and fumbled twice. So it's not like DJ running the ball is like the perfect elixir that fixes everything. He still is putting the ball on the ground. Shipley puts the ball on the ground right there in a place that you can't. That was doomed from the start. The best thing they did, honestly, was try to get Georgia Tech to jump off sides, getting a little greedy. That was the best thing they did, because that was not my first inclination. But when it became clear that's what they're doing, I was like, you know what? That's pretty smart, because you don't actually want to snap the ball in that situation.
I told my son Clemson should just try that until Georgia Tech finally jumps off sides. Like
they really could do it.
There's no like penalty for just continually trying to get the team to jump off sides. You just half the distance.
That's right. Look, the sad part of this, and we laugh or we'd cry, right, Swanny? The sad part of this is Clemson can't line up and get a yard with a quarterback who's oscillating between big and little Cinco, but he's around 250 pounds. You can't line up and get half a yard and just fall forward. That speaks to some of the deep-seated issues offensively. You know what the main issue offensively is? They don't have an identity. You know why they don't have an identity? Because Georgia kicked their teeth in. Think about what we were hearing about this offense in August. Think about how Dabo Swinney talked about them after the game Saturday and then his teleconference Sunday. This is an offensive football team that is so fragile. I mean, they're just fragile. And I'm not talking soft, although I could point to some instances now where they got to get tougher. But you got to get tougher in the interior offensive line. I'm going to tell you right now, people are killing the offensive line. The biggest disaster right now offensively for Clemson is the wide receiver blocking on the edge. Holy smokes. 3 small children could block on the edge better than that. Frank Ladson has been – I'm a big Frank Ladson fan, and I've said a lot of nice things about Frank Ladson. So this is tough love right here. You got to block anybody against NC State, and it'll be the first time. Like, I don't understand how the blocking on the edge has been that poor. So there are issues to work out in terms of the ability of this team to execute. But they're not executing because there's no trust in each other, and there is no self-trust between any player and himself. And I think that manifested itself at 1st and 10 from the 1-yard line when you couldn't even get out of the end zone.
James says we can't run and we can't pass. What's left? Well, Spires is a heck of a job this year punting the football. I'll be honest with you. He's MVP.
You know what? Let me say real quick. I think they can run. Like, they only had 4 tackles for loss. I think one of those was like a swing pass to Lynn J. Dixon. So, like, on run plays, they ran the ball a bunch. Only 3 times he got tackled for loss. They took, like, the bare minimum of what the play was designed to get and what the defense gave them. They're just not capable of getting anything else. So, I would say that. I did think they ran the ball better, obviously, than they did against Georgia or even than they did against South Carolina State.
I was trying to look, Qualk, and let's see, how much time do I have? About a minute. 2 minutes, actually. Dabo Swinney's opening comment, and I'm sure you guys probably played this on Out of Bounds with Qualk and Kelly today. If not, just the way he said it about we're a work in progress right now. You said fragile. That's kind of what I heard in his voice. Like, he knows that this team it's walking on, it's like thin ice right now with this group. Like, they are a fragile bunch. I agree. And I'm going to play that audio for everybody after you and I get off the air again so they can hear just what I'm hearing in his voice. But I think you're all over it, man. Listen, always appreciate you joining us, hanging out with us, being a part of it. I know Tiger fans are like, oh, this is awful. But I got to admit, for us, this is kind of exciting because there's something to talk about, because for years it's just been Clemson hot knifing through butter everybody. I mean, now we've got some intrigue here to this 2021 campaign.
Yeah, you're right. And let's not gloss over, which we did. We didn't even talk about them, and I barely mentioned on the show today, but first time in 71 years at Clemson that they've held the first 3 opponents out of the end zone. And Georgia hadn't done that. Nobody's done that in the nation. Clemson, Georgia, Iowa are the 3 best defenses in the country. And it's not like Clemson fans aren't used to winning a whole bunch of games, not scoring a bunch of points, and holding people to basically 0, 3, or 6. So
Brent
this is going to be like
one question after the game Saturday.
Yeah,
unbelievable.
Because it's amazing what they're doing.
It is, isn't it? One question. Everybody else wants to know what's going wrong everywhere else. Brent Phillips has got it right. We'll talk to you next week, buddy. Take care, man.
Thanks, Swanny. Be good, buddy.
All right, stay with us.
Columbia's most dependable traffic, sponsored by Pope Davis Tire and Automotive, home of the best tire prices in Columbia, guaranteed. Fox Sports Radio 1400 traffic.
A look at the road shows a wreck on I-26 eastbound near the Highway 1 exit. Also a wreck on I-20 westbound at the North Main exit. If you're stuck, use the 103.5 FM WVOC traffic tip line 343-1055.
This report is sponsored by Lowe's Foods.
We did it. The Buy Low at 120 Forum Drive is now a full-fledged brand spanking chicken clucking brisket rubbing veggie chopping draft pouring new Lowe's Foods. The grand opening of your local Lowe's Foods is here. Get excited.
It's time to get your home insanely clean. Listen, Zero Res cleans like no other. No harsh chemicals and no sticky, soapy residue is left behind. And right now, get 3 rooms of carpet cleaned for $119. Plus, when you mention the station, you'll get a hallway cleaned for free. Schedule online at ZeroResColumbia.com.
There's a hot new podcast we think you'll like. Variety's Strictly Business. Hear candid conversations about business deals, strategy, and the future of media and entertainment from industry A-listers. Hosted by Variety business editor Cynthia Littleton and co-editor-in-chief Andrew Wallenstein. And once a month, executive editor of music Shirley Halperin will join the conversation to discuss the business of music. Listen to Strictly Business on iHeartRadio or wherever you get your podcasts.
By popular demand, Great Southern Homes now lists their coming soon communities online. Whether you're looking for a new home in your hometown, moving to a new town, or just want your pick of choice lots, this is the place to start. Great Southern Homes invites you to put the wow in your new home with options and upgrades. Live green, live smart in your new green smart home. Show your style and personalize your new home with options and upgrades from Great Southern Homes. Find your dream home today, GreatSouthernHomes.com.
Hi, I'm Alicia Kaufman Quinton. My daddy, Billy Kaufman, opened Kaufman's Meat Plant at our present location in 1955. My family still works hard every day to ensure fresh quality cuts of beef, pork, and poultry. How about a tasty T-bone, ribeye, or New York strip steak? But to order at Kaufman's Meat and Place, just look for the signs near the intersection of US 1 and I-20 in Lexington. Call us at 356-0076 to place your order. Kaufman's Meat and Place, when you want the very best your money can buy.
We will never fully understand what we've asked of our military service members, of their families or their children, asking them to deploy, patrol, stay on watch, on point, asking them to put themselves in harm's way, to endure it all. But we do understand that it's our turn, our duty, to bring them all the way home, to keep them secure, to have their backs for the rest of their lives. Wounded Warrior Project long-term support programs do whatever it takes to help our most severely ill or injured veterans live independently, at no cost, for life, so that they might stand at ease. Find out how you can help at findwwp.org.
Imagine if I told you that an earthquake was going to hit tomorrow right where you live. That it would be 6.5 in magnitude with aftershocks occurring twice 25 minutes apart. You'd no doubt talk with your loved ones and you'd make a plan today. It's true, I can't tell you an earthquake will happen tomorrow. But what if it does? Shouldn't you have a plan? Visit scemd.org and make your emergency plan today. Don't wait. Communicate. Brought to you by the South Carolina Emergency Management Division, FEMA, and the Ad Council.
Stay on top of today's pop culture. Ace and TJ Mornings and today's hit music all day on 104.7 WNOK.
Again, it is the show that shakes the Southland. Thank you to William Qualkenbush for hanging out with us. So many messages, so much to get to here on the program. I wanted to play some of Tony Elliott's audio. I don't know if we'll be able to get that in because it is the People's Show. The show's about you, the listener. 803-450-0086. We're here for you each and every afternoon from 4 until 6 o'clock. And then, of course, podcasting the entire program. So you can catch that. Plus, we'll be rebroadcasting these episodes streaming as well. So, again, make sure you subscribe to our YouTube channel. We'd love to have you come in and support us, help us continue to grow. And, again, we had a lot of people call in over the weekend, and that's something we're trying to encourage more and more of you to do, and that is to reach out to us via the text line, via the phone line, and let us know what you think. Let us know what you think about the Clemson Tigers and the way they played this past weekend. All right, back out to the phone lines we go. I believe we got Double O on the line with us.
Lawton, I don't need to tell you my name. You know who I am. ACC championship. Yeah, we'll probably make it there.
Yeah.
I really don't know if we can win that game because I don't know if our offense can score enough points to win that game. Long story short, not really concerned because I promise you this, we will not make the playoffs. And Abby, I'm sure, doesn't like my reality, but that's reality. We don't have what it takes to make the playoffs, and we're 8th right now. So if somebody disagrees with me, y'all can sure explain to me how that's going to happen. I'll be all ears. There's 2 teams that only Georgia, Alabama. Those are the only 2 that has what it takes to win a championship this year. I don't know how that's going to work out. I couldn't tell you. I'm not going to get that technical with you right now. But I do want to talk about this, Lawton.
Okay.
I've been listening to you all summer long talk about what if we start having a bad season, and what if we can't do this, and what if whiny. Well, guess what, Lawton? You talked it up. Your wish came true. We're having a bad season. And, I'm saying 3 losses this year. That's how bad a season we're going to have. I'm saying 3. And man, I hope and pray that I'm wrong about that, but that's what I see. And, I think I'll leave it at that, Lawton. Oh, one more thing. I got one more thing always.
Always.
You call it a people show?
It is.
My friend.
It is the people show.
We've already discussed this. It's not a people show until you allow your callers to call in and have conversation with you. Then, by all means, call it a people show. And you know what else, Lawton?
What?
You host the show that shakes the Southland. It doesn't shake me that much, but I'll talk to you later. Bye.
All right, man. That felt like a conversation. That was great. Thanks. All right, let's see. HD, listening to the program in Charlotte. He says, Swanny, we must all realize that these are college kids. And I've often said you never can predict what 18, 19, 20-year-olds will do on any given Saturday. However, how long do you wait before you make a change? No question, DJ's a great talent, but he doesn't even look like the same kid as last year. He's not throwing with confidence or authority. And that was sort of the thing I mentioned in the first segment. And again, if you want to hear that first segment, you're going to have to go get the podcast because it's not going to be on the video. But I really felt like at one point in the second half, maybe they should have given Tyson just a drive, just a series, just a kind of a wake-up call for DJ. Hey, buddy, you got to tighten it up a little bit. But it didn't happen. It didn't happen. And there really wasn't a lot of snaps available because of the way the game was burnt down so quickly by Georgia Tech's scheme defensively, making Clemson run, shortening the clock, and then also, conversely, Georgia Tech's willingness to run the clock and allow the play clock to run down. So it was sort of a double-edged sword. I think Dabo Swinney even called it that. All right, let's see what we got going on here. Anthony says he's loving the orange swag. Thank you, Anthony. We used to have these hats, in orange. I just don't know where they are. Probably giving them all away. You have a nice orange Clemson Sports Talk hat. Let's see. Joe wants to know, are we missing Jeff Scott more than we know? I think that's like you could make a reasonable guesstimation at that, Joe. But I always felt like this was Tony Elliott's offense when Jeff Scott was here anyway, because Jeff Scott was on the sidelines during the game. But you could possibly make an argument that the co-offensive coordinator situation helped during game prep and scheming. Maybe, that might be something to consider. Let's see, we had another text message come in. This is a really, I'm not saying it's funny, ha-ha, it's just funny in general, but this text message came through and said, Swanny, let's see, Clemson's defense. This comes to us from Kevin, listening to us in Goose Creek, South Carolina. Dude, put pins in the map today for the show that shakes the Southland. Clemson's defense is giving up 12 points, and Clemson's offense is giving up 9. He says the offense may end up giving up more points than the defense this season. Kevin, appreciate it, man. That's good. That got me. That's good. All right, let's see what else we've got from people tuning in live on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitter. Esley said Dabo looked absolutely drained after the game. Dude, hashtag agreed. Oh, the photo of Dabo Swinney that's up right now on ClemsonSportsTalk.com. I mean, he looks like you run him through one of those apps that ages you. I mean, I thought it was Gene Stallings there for a minute. It does. He looks aged, tired during the game. My wife even said, man, Dabo doesn't look good. I'm like, he probably feels like he's about to have a heart attack. 803-450-0086. We'll continue to try to get to your comments here on the program today. Plus, we'll see if we can't sneak in some of Tony Elliott's comments as well. I think we have another caller to get to. 803-450-0086. That's the way you can call the program. But don't forget to head over to our YouTube channel and subscribe, man. We would love to have you subscribe to support us, to help us continue to grow. I'll leave the number up during the break in case anybody else wants to get in. Stay with us.
iHeartRadio brings you Global Citizen Live, a moment heard around the world. This Saturday, the biggest artists on the planet unite with world leaders to demand action on our biggest challenges, featuring BTS, Usher, Elton John, Black Eyed Peas, Ed Sheeran, Lizzo, Shawn Mendes, Jennifer Lopez, Coldplay, and other surprise guests. Join us for this once-in-a-generation moment to defend the planet and defeat poverty. Together, we can move the world one action at a time. Hear it all day this Saturday on Global Citizen Radio with the iHeartRadio app.
Group training is a fun, accountable way to get in shape. I'm Coach Stewart of Dynamic Health and Fitness. Come train with one of our special groups today. We will focus on giving you the support you need to get in shape. We use the Dynamic Mob, featuring intervals of cardio, functional training, and strength training to change your lifestyle to make you healthy. Get started today at any of our locations in Lexington or West Columbia, or call 803-408-4060 or online at dynamichealthclub.com.
The new year can often bring big changes, some great and some unpleasant. If you're facing a divorce, consult the full-service legal team at Masella Law. Attorney Robert Masella has over 2 decades of experience fighting to protect his clients' assets and making sure that every detail of their divorce is handled carefully. Don't get overwhelmed by the legalities. Get in touch with Masella Law and get started towards your future.
748-9990. Give us a call or just log on MasellaLaw.com.
When it's football season, that means it's fall. Is your HVAC system ready for it? Sure, it's a big difference going from those hot summer days to those cool fall and winter nights. If you do have a problem, or better yet, before you have a problem, have my friends at On-Call Plumbing, Heating, and Air come and take a look. With On-Call, you'll always get a trained technician, not a trained salesperson.
On-Call Plumbing, Heating, and Air. Pick up the phone and we'll be right there. Call 781-HELP.
It's Colin Cowherd. Here's what's trending from iHeart Sports Network, presented by Mercedes-Benz. I still don't understand why people won't embrace Lamar Jackson of the Ravens. If you call the quarterback position playmaker, he'd fit right in. We'd all realize he's a top 3 quarterback, but we don't, so he's constantly nitpicked. But he's an amazing athlete, coachable. Bottom line, he just keeps winning 80% of his games. The only way to beat him is make him a spectator. And even the Chiefs couldn't do that last night. I'm Colin Cowherd. Style runs in the family. Athleticism runs in the family. Extraordinary runs in the family. The 2021 Mercedes-Benz range of SUVs. Learn more at MBUSA.com or test drive one at your local dealer.
Tomorrow is World Gratitude Day, and to show how thankful we are, iHeartRadio is giving you full control of the music on our stations across the country. Now, when you're listening to any iHeart station on an Alexa device, say, Alexa, make a request.
Okay, what would you like to hear?
Plus, dedicate songs to family, friends, pets, anyone you're thankful for.
Alexa,
make a request. Celebrate World Gratitude Day with the one thing that brings the whole world together, music. From iHeartRadio, #1 for music, radio, and podcasts, all in one app.
Melissa from Michigan.
I work an extra part-time job serving lunch at my child's school, but I still can't afford to put food on our table.
Daniel from California. Choosing whether to pay the rent or pay to fix the car to get to work doesn't leave us with much at all. Now we can't even pay for meals.
Hunger is a story we can end. End it at feedingamerica.org. Brought to you by Feeding America and the Ad Council.
It's sports radio done only the way Fox can do it.
There's always something to talk about. There's always controversy. And
You're listening to Fox Sports Radio 1400.
Clemson Sports Talk on a Monday afternoon, the show that shakes the Southland. Lawton Swan with you here again. Thank you to William Qualkenbush for being a part of the program. We've been trying to get to some of your calls and texts and thoughts and notes, and man, lots of stuff to get to. A call from the upstate over the weekend, about 10:37 on Saturday, from a Tiger fan. Not happy.
Our offense is offensive to me, or I should say our lack of offense. Pathetic. Congrats to the Clemson defense for going 3 games and not giving up a touchdown. Otherwise, we'd be 0-3.
There you go. Tough call from the upstate. He went on to say, basically, you guys are terrible. You stink. 803-450-0086 text line, phone line. Again, you can get in on the conversation. Give us your thoughts on Clemson's 14-8. God, it's hard to even say it, right? 14-8 victory over the Georgia Tech Yellow Jackets. And Jordan Yates, quarterback for the Yellow Jackets, outplayed DJ Uiagalelei. Yates was 20 of 33 for 203 yards, no touchdowns and no interceptions. DJ goes 18 of 25, just 126 yards passing, no touchdowns, no interceptions. A big fumble for DJ Uiagalelei. Will Shipley carried the ball 21 times for 88 yards in the contest, and the 2 touchdowns for the Tigers. Again, not a lot of work for Lynn J. Dixon, just 5 carries for 11 yards. Kobe Pace, just 7 carries for 13 yards. And really, it felt like once they allowed DJ, or forced, whichever way you want to look at it, DJ to run the ball, it felt like it sort of took some of the angst, that I think he's feeling out of his system. And we've heard players in the past talk about things like this, like, oh, yeah, it was, like when you go into a big championship game and what was it like before the game? And they're like, well, it was kind of nerve-wracking until I got hit, got popped for the first time. And then you're just like, all right, we're playing football. I'm awake. Kind of wakes you up a little bit. I mean, Georgia Tech, think about it. After beating them 73-3 a year ago, from pillar to post, Georgia Tech puts up 309 yards of total offense, and Clemson puts up 284. I mean, that to me is, in so many ways, like I mentioned the fact that nobody asked Brent Venables a question after the game. He had one question asked of him. Ironically, it was about James Skalski. But just looking back on it all, like, if it is that easy to slow a team down, then why isn't that done every week? Not just by teams to Clemson, but by Clemson to teams. If it's that easy to slow a team down, now again, well, if you can run the ball, then that changes that because they can't stay in that same look. Sure, but there still seems to be so much that is got to be available. Again, I'm not an offensive coordinator. Maybe you've been one. But I would feel like, man, couldn't you catch something in the flats a couple of times? A little pass in the flats to the running back. I mean, they still have to respect the deep ball, right? I mean, somebody's got to go in coverage if you're running routes that are opening things up. Plus, there's got to be something underneath if everybody's dropping. Like, to me, there has to be some space somewhere that Clemson wasn't attacking. But again, possessions. text message right on point with something I was thinking as well. Sean, listening to the program in Australia. Boom! Sydney, Australia. Wow. Says, I wonder how this offense is looking at when they scrimmage against the defensive front. Still time to improve this year, but we need to turn up this weekend. Sean, listen, I can't believe you asked this question, dude. It's like you are synced up with my brain right now. Because I mentioned earlier that there was only one question asked to Brent Venables. I was in with Tony Elliott. Had I known that there was only one person with Venables, I was going to ask him that. I was going to say, Coach, honestly, what is practice like right now for your defense going up against this offense? I mean, it must just be a murder. I'd call the police. I'd like to report a murder over at the Clemson football offices because this defense is currently killing the offense at practice every day. I mean, and then, Sean, I also had this other hunch. Maybe that's part of the problem for DJ right now. And again, I know it's not full speed, etc. But maybe because DJ has to face off against these guys every day, he's just mixed up between his ears about what he can and can't get away with. And yeah, when you go out against Georgia Tech, that's not the Clemson defensive front. But if you're just rattled from the decision-making that you make at practice, oh, where's my Allen Iverson clip when I need it? Yeah, we're talking about practice. Not a game. Practice. What are we talking about? I think we're talking about practice. Maybe that's where you kind of have a little bit of a problem right now for DJ. I mean, is it conceivable to you as a fan that DJ's practices, that it could be so difficult for him right now that it's carried over to the game? Could I plant that hypothesis in betwixt your ears? Could I plant that seed? Inception. Is it possible? Because, look, I'm with you. I get it, Sean. Like, it's hard to imagine what this offense looks like against this defense, given the fact that this defense has been just stellar. The one thing I will say, and again, I'm going to hold fast on this. Yeah, it didn't look great this weekend against Georgia Tech. Yes, it hadn't looked great against Power 5 opponents on offense. Has not. But if you are still willing to say, Swanny, I believe Georgia's one of the best teams in the country, if that is indeed the case, then Clemson can't be far from that. And all they have to do is get rocking and rolling. Our Kaufman's fan poll is up over on our website. What's your biggest concern for Clemson heading into the NC State game? Play calling, quarterback play, the offensive line, or other. During this break, go over there and do that and subscribe to our YouTube channel.
Way back when, Colombia was a vast dining desert, a wasteland for fast, fresh, authentic Southwestern food. Weren't nothing bundled up nice and warm in a tortilla. Colombia needed Diablos. Southwestern the way you want it. The real deal, with no shortcuts in quality and served up as fast and fresh as you want it. Diablo Southwest Grill. Sunset Boulevard in Lexington. DiabloSouthwestGrill.com.
Lawton Swan here. And I know in sports, we're always talking about the big guy. Well, let me tell you, when you're buying a car, you don't need that. What you need to do is head down to Orangeburg to my good friends at Ferry Chevrolet Cadillac. 4 generations of family-owned business right there at Ferry Chevrolet. No dock fees, no tricks, straightforward pricing in a low-pressure environment you'll love. Check them out online, ferrychevrolet.com, or call them 803-536-1600. It's Ferry Chevrolet Cadillac, just a short 30-minute drive off of exit 145A in Orangeburg.
Fall is a season that's a little in the middle. It's sort of the best of 2 seasons. It's no longer a sweaty summer, but the winter chill is still around the corner. And that's the perfect time to feed and seed your lawn with Scott's Turf Builder. Even better than spring, because the soil is still warm, but the air is getting cool. So your lawn gets the most nutrients in the best combination of temperatures. Feed and seed now with Scott's Turf Builder and build the best lawn for every season. Scott's, it's good out here.
At Firehouse Subs, we make our subs differently because our subs can make a difference. And now it's never been easier to grab our subs to go for you or your whole crew. With Firehouse Subs Rapid Rescue to Go, you can save time when you order online at firehouseSubs.com or on our app. And we'll have your subs boxed, bagged, and ready for pickup at our designated to-go areas. No lines, no waiting. Just more big, bold, craveable subs that help save lives. Firehouse Subs. Enjoy more subs. Save more lives.
Are you in the market for a diamond but aren't sure what to get? For example, do you buy a mined diamond or are you thinking about lab grown? Hey, this is Scott with Traditions Fine Jewelers, and we want to help you decide because at Traditions, we carry a large selection of both mined and lab-grown diamonds. A mined diamond is traditional. It was formed in the earth millions of years ago and was discovered and cut specifically for you. The idea of getting something discovered and cut just for you is so romantic, it can make the start of your forever together ring unforgettable. A lab-grown diamond is just what it says, a diamond grown in the laboratory that has all the same characteristics as a mined diamond. It's graded just like a mined diamond, and the FTC has even ruled that lab-grown diamonds should be called diamonds because that's what they are. What's great about lab is that you can get a much larger size lab-grown diamond for the same price of a mined diamond, and getting a larger stone is very attractive to many people. Traditions Fine Jewelers staff is ready to help you find the perfect diamond just for you, mined or lab-grown. Traditions Fine Jewelers, where the Midlands get engaged.
Not on my watch, our military service members say, as they volunteer to serve. Not on my watch, they say, as they leave their families behind to keep the rest of ours safe. As they move out, stand firm, and take fire. So not on our watch, we say, to the severely ill or injured veterans who can't get the care they deserve, the therapists they need to walk again, the treatment they need to talk again, the lifetime of day-to-day help they need to live full and independent lives. When there's no more government funding, or a nursing home seems like the only option, or everyone says there's no hope for recovery, we won't leave one warrior behind. Not on our watch. Find out how you can do your part at findwwp.org.
Fox Sports Radio 1400. Online at foxsportsradio1400.com. On your phone with the iHeartRadio app and on hundreds of devices like Alexa, Google Home, Xbox, and Sonos. An iHeart radio station.
What have you done for me lately? It's a fair question. Just don't lose sight of the bigger picture. Don't forget history. Lucky for us at Clemson, the answer to the questions, what have you done for me lately, and what have you done always, are the same. We win.
Again, final segment on the Monday, and I know we didn't get to all the audio we wanted to with you today from the coaching staff, from the players, from post-game. We got a lot of Dabo in the first segment. Again, catch that on the podcast. But our website, ClemsonSportsTalk.com, just $63.17 for 1 year coverage. We'd love to have you support us. We'd love to have you stand behind us. I haven't done the math in a while. Hey, Siri, what's $63.17 times 365? No, that's the wrong number. See, I can't even do simple math on the air. Hey, Siri, what's $63.17? I'll just do it right here, quicker than that. So 63.17 divided by 365 is 17 cents a day. 17 cents a day to stand behind us, support us, and help us grow, man. We'd love to have you do that. All right, so out to the phone lines. We go with an unnamed caller earlier. Wants to talk a little bit about Clemson.
Yes, I'd like to maybe make some suggestions for the football program. Number one, Tony Elliott needs to go, as well as Robbie Caldwell and Thomas Austin, because the offensive line certainly can't block even a blocking sled right now. I'd also like to suggest that they take a look at a couple offensive coordinators. One, Willie Corn of Coastal Carolina, and Jeff Levy, offensive coordinator at Ole Miss. It's very evident. Georgia Tech played a 3-man front and dropped 8. Also, they need to take into consideration maybe moving Will Taylor into the slot along with Stellato and maybe even giving the guy a shot there. Anyway, and when they go to look for an offensive line coach, they shouldn't consider Thomas Austin because he's just nothing but a carbon copy of the philosophies of Robbie Caldwell. I'd go up to Wisconsin and try to attempt to hire their offensive line coach. They have a history of great offensive lines and big yardage gainers at Wisconsin. Thank you so much.
Appreciate the call. Yeah, Tony Elliott's obviously catching a lot of heat, a lot of scrutiny for the job or lack thereof that they've done this year offensively. And, to hear people bring up Jeff Scott's name as, how big of an impact was that earlier? We heard that message or the text that came through about that. And it's a valid point. I think you at least can ask that at this point, given what we've seen. Some of this obviously on the offensive line, agreed. Some of this obviously on DJ, agreed. Some of this obviously on Tony Elliott. And I think just the, jamming it all together, it just hadn't been good. And so how do you get better at this point in the season? If there would be some grand irony in this, though, like if Tony Elliott were to take a job at the end of the season and go somewhere else and become a head coach, could you imagine if Willie Corn came back to Clemson? Willie Crack Corn and I don't care. Willie Corn, who for years when he was playing at Burns High School was sort of seen as what Trevor Lawrence became, right? Like just this guy that was going to take you to the next level. And maybe even what Deshaun Watson was, just a guy that was going to take your program to the next level, and it never materialized. Wouldn't it be something if in 12 months, Tony Elliott's a coach somewhere, and like the previous caller said, maybe they go out and bring a guy in, like Willie Corn from Coastal Carolina, and what if he became the next big, coordinator at Clemson? Who knows? That would be a heck of a story. Then there's also the questions about Brandon Streeter and the work that they have or haven't done, maybe more specifically, to get DJ right. He's throwing off of his back foot, just doesn't look settled in the pocket. It's not comfortable to watch. No possession. Matter of fact, I can't think of really a possession this year, 3 games in, and they got a big matchup coming up against NC State this weekend, where you just looked at it and went, man, that felt normal. That felt comfortable. Everything looks hard right now for this Clemson offense. And that, I think, is the biggest concern. It should be your biggest concern. Everything looks difficult for this offense in 2021. They have a championship-level defense. I think they have championship talent on the offensive side of the ball. But you've got to go out and get the JOB, DONE, the job done. And they're not. They're just not. Offensively, it hasn't been great. But they know it. They know it. And as Dabo Swinney said, I didn't even play that audio for you. Man, I'm a bad host. I'm a sad host and a bad host. All in one. The way Dabo Swinney opened that press conference the other day just made me think, man, he does not feel good about this team right now. At all. But you know what? You turn from a bad host into a good host when you get the job done. Here you go.
Unbelievable effort by our guys, tremendous heart. We're getting better, but we're still a work in progress.
The way he said better there, we're getting better. Not great. We got to get out of here. We'll be back tomorrow. Hope you'll join us. Until then, as always, y'all take care now and go Tigers.
Clemson Sports Talk with Lawton Swan on Columbia's home for sports. Fox Sports Radio 1400. Now, Columbia's most dependable traffic, sponsored by Pope Davis Tire and Automotive, home of the best tire prices in Columbia, guaranteed. Fox Sports Radio 1400 traffic.
Look out for a tie-up on I-26 westbound at the St. Andrews Road exit. Also an accident at Long's Pond at Two Notch. The 103.5 FM WVOC traffic tip line is open at 343-1055.
This report is sponsored by Brakes for Less.
Brakes for Less is what we do. We know drums, rotors, pads, and shoes. It doesn't matter what kind of car you got. Call 888-261-STOP. All we do are Brakes for Less.
Plus tax tags and title with approved